Right, hello everybody. This is the Rebel T, and today I have got to you a sort of a world building project. Now I'm recording this video primarily as sort of like a catalogue, or just so I can put my thoughts out there onto something I can rewatch later on, because I'm going to try this out. I've been trying to type up stuff for myself and it's been going shortly nowhere. So I have decided to try and first draw out like a little diagram, and then perhaps make a little art assets out of using Minecraft like blocky sort of models and textures. Past couple of videos you may have seen some things that I've created, the cave dweller and the just resource pack testing. Those are models that I've made, the gun model and the cave dweller model. It's been a long time since I've made anything like that, and my skills got rusty. I've been very busy over my day job, and I've no longer had a motivation to do so. So I figured, why not try and do a world building project and make stuff from that universe. So in the background you can see I have made a sort of spider diagram of initial idea and concept. So no idea what this world is going to be called yet. It is a sort of flintlock fantasy world, where I'm trying to make it sort of a bit more unique, in a sense that a lot of it's sort of my own ideas, and as you can see I've pointed out that I'm not opposed to like the traditional stereotypical sort of fantasy races or species, as some people like to say, and species is probably the more correct term for that anyway. I'm doing this without a script, so I may just ramble on, I do apologise. The general idea is these are creatures that are sort of humanoid and almost human, but there's sort of kind of like the Hylians from Legend of Zelda, but their heads are a bit more Tassar, whatever came up, I can't remember the damn name of it. It is a primate with very, very big eyes, and I like the idea of those, but more primate with big eyes, those sort of heads, although more round ears and more like elfy ears, and perhaps like a longer sort of more pointier noses. How I'm going to express this media aside from art is potentially through like a tabletop role-playing game or war game, or maybe just like a short story book. I'm into like war games and TTRPGs, and I've been making my own sort of on-side project of TTRPGs for a while. But I figured I wanted to make a world and then make a game for that world as well. But whatever I'm going to do with it, I'm not entirely sure yet. So the general idea of this world is, bear in mind, all this can change, because I've not really thought too much of it just yet. But you can see my spider diagram. I've been listing a lot of things. The idea is these people were a peaceful race. They have been warring. Their technology has gone up to sort of around the Napoleonic era. But has since been 2 centuries since then, and they've been striving for peace, and they've been, I mean, generally they're more of a peaceful culture, more peaceful species. War is not something they want to do. But thanks to discovery of resource dragon fossils, so I should point out, in this world, reptiles probably take up the majority of animals that live, or the fauna of this world, although there are mammals, because the main sentient species are mammals still. But dragons were something that existed, but kind of like our own dinosaurs, they are now extinct. But due to the magical properties of dragons and their fossils, it's been discovered that they can use those fossils as fuel, and use as gunpowder, and that's what they've sort of been using. However, those dragon fossils are now running low, and so war, which is something they never wanted to do, but now started doing, and they're really out of practice. War has now broke out. Yeah. So that's kind of a bit of a premise of the world a little bit. The sort of themes and genre I kind of want to get is more, I guess, a dying continent. It not as exactly like that. I'm trying to put forward the idea that these nations in this continent have solely run off this dragon fossil fuels. There you go. And it's become a sort of a backbone of this continent society, and now it's starting to run out. Resources are getting a bit lower, and because of that they're sort of forced to go to war with each other because they need those resources. And so that's kind of the world I'm trying to make. So because they've had so long of being at peace, their technology is sort of left behind for warfare versus what they have now. So something I'll put up on there is sort of early Edwardian World War I and like early vehicles. So kind of like, I suppose, early like steam cars, kind of, maybe like sort of more, maybe just a little bit more advanced than that. Perhaps they have electricity. That could be something. Though I'm quite decided. This is more just me spamming a paper full of ideas that have just come in my head. There's also the idea of a second sentient species within this world, them being insectoids, and I'm not sure whether or not to make them humanoid like the main species that are currently occupying this continent. Or to make them like insect, like look like maybe like a larger insect that are sentient. Now, as I was researching the little primate that you can see on there, that I can't really say the bloody name of, Tesseris? I have no idea. I even pressed a button that I saw on the Google page that looked like a little speaker, and I thought, oh, that's not how you pronounce it. No, it's not. It's how they communicate with each other. It's like a little chirpy thing. So, okay. I realized I was gonna make them vegetarians because that feels like they're fits nicely with the whole idea that they're more peaceful species. However, as I was like looking it up, these guys were actually insectivores, and it kind of got me thinking, what if they treated the insectoid species as more of livestock? And so that was sort of a weird back and forth I had in my head of whether or not to make them vegetarian species, or to make them sort of maybe vegetarian or omnivorous, primarily with insectoids. And I'm really not sure, because I guess it sort of could depend on the culture. Maybe they're more peaceful towards each other, and perhaps these insectoids are more primitive, to the point where they're sort of like Stone Age kind of. Maybe they've sort of just gained their sentience recently, and they've sort of been evolving since then, but the technology is still sort of primitive. And these Tesarius creatures that have yet to have a name, sort of enslaved these insectoids and treated them as livestock. Their weapons didn't really need to advance more than that, because their weapons were far more capable of just taking them out and eating them. And perhaps maybe they took a moral ground, or maybe like rather than dehumanizing them so much to just bred slaves in a way, it could be more. The idea popped in my head of like a sort of like a vampire thrall sort of relationship, where the vampire keeps the thrall alive as food, but basically gives it tries to give them. Or it could like sort of depend whether or not it's just they're just treating it as a livestock and they're treating them badly, or perhaps they treat them really well for their food. And I suppose it's kind of similar to how we do livestock today, where you may get some bad farmers who treat the animals poorly, but most of the time you probably might get a lot of farmers who try and treat them as well as they can and give them a good life before they slaughter them. And maybe this might be the sort of relationship they have with the insectoids. And I'm not taking it off the board yet, because that I feel could be like a really interesting and challenging dynamic to try and balance between the two species. And I guess that my main concern is it's too far-fetched, considering how it's supposed to be like a far more peaceful species. But that's something I'll wrap my head around at a later point. Otherwise, if they are vegetarian, then they'll be hugely agricultural, because they kind of need to be. It's kind of their main diet. The setting generally is also more low fantasy. There is magic. I had thought of the idea of perhaps there is no magic, but that kind of borders like a more sci-fi. I don't really want that. I kind of want more of like a low fantasy. That it is a fantasy world. So, yeah. I think I've rambled on a bit now. Was supposed to only do like 6 minutes of this. I've now done 12. I've done double the time that I was supposed to do. I was trying to do it as this video in the background was playing, and it's now stopped playing about 6 minutes ago. Alright. I'm not sure when the next video will be out. This may become a series. I don't know. I'll do something for this project, and then I'll record it and I'll put it up whenever. There's no schedule to this. I'm very busy in real life, and I've got other projects I need to get a hang of as well. So, yeah. Anyway, my rambling done. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.